Hello, welcome to Up North Outdoor Tech and Recreation. Today we're taking a look at the 94 Arctic Cat 700 Wildcat, and I had picked this up, and the reason for it being cheap sale was they couldn't get it running, and they thought it was some type of fuel problem. They kind of thought it was the EFI fuel relay. Well, looking into it a little bit more, I got out some wiring diagrams for it. Beautiful book, really. This thing's awesome. It's a 1994 Wildcat Service Manual for Arctic Cat Snowmobiles. One of the main points of these systems is that if it won't start, first thing you should check is the battery. They need a good, strong battery. I think it's 12.4 volts to 12.7 volts to start it. And then if you got a good battery and still nothing's turning on, then it's usually that that one line in there that turns on the EFI, and that's controlled by all the safety. There's two plugs on the ECU computer. One is a shorter plug and one is a longer plug. So on the shorter plug, there's a wire that comes out which is red and yellow. And that red and yellow goes directly to the key switch. And the key switch wire is red and blue. And it runs over red and blue back to the tether. The tether on this Skidoo is completely eliminated, so we won't check the tether on it, unfortunately. But you will have to if you have a tether. Any breaks in this line will not allow anything to turn on. Alright? And then from the tether switch, you go red-black. It goes to the push-button throttle switch, which is on the handlebars. And that goes directly to the EFI relay, which will show you. So, like I was saying before, there's basically one line that runs over from your EFI computer. It runs to the keyed kill switch. Then it runs to the tether, which is missing over here. And then it runs up through the column over to, there should be a kill switch here. This kill switch was missing, and it's busted in the off position. I'll show you how to do a relay check on that again after. But yeah, so I basically just wanted to give you a little bit of a close-up on some of the connections I was talking about for from the ECU through the safety switches and back to the EFI relay. So basically what we got here, this is the small plug on the ECU. You can see that. And the wire you need to check is right there. It's the red and yellow wire. Alright. So you hook 1 ohm connection up to the red and yellow wire. And then you're going to take out the brown EFI relay. And the trigger on the relay, which connects the switch, so it magnetizes the magnet in there and interacts the switch, is the red and white line. So basically you're going to put 1 meter side on that line and 1 meter side on this line, and you should have continuity. If you look up into here, you'll see the other connectors. This was the tether for the lanyard. It was disconnected when I got it. I don't have a new tether, and that one's missing the piece on it. Also, you have the keyed switch back here. You can do a resistance check on this keyed switch. It should be less than 1 ohm resistance. So when the switch is off, it should be full resistance. And when you turn the switch on, it should be less than 1 ohm. If you have more than 1 ohm, you might want to replace that or bypass it and see if that's your issue. And then up here, it goes up to the handlebar console. And you got this funky little plug in here. Oh, okay. So you can easily test the stop switch on the handlebars by doing a resistance check on these 2 terminals. The third line that's coming off of here is the yellow and black. And like I said, I'll keep a link on all of this stuff after. But the yellow and black is actually a full throttle switch. I'm not exactly sure what that's used for. Might just keep the fuel pump running or something, so you got extra fuel for high consumption during high speed. But anyways, yeah, so, oh sorry, not this connector, the one Baron connector and the one female one. That far one is your high speed switch. So you want to check those two for resistance for that one. And these guys are pretty simple. But you can follow right through. It's not too bad of a job. Okay, and then reconnect this one. I lost grip on it. So it's the red and yellow. So we connect into this. So read our ohm meter. And we see we have connection to that wire. Alright. So that's good. So that means that our wire from our ECU to our kill switch is good. So the next connection we're going to do on this skidoo, you would actually do the tether switch over here, but my tether is eliminated, so there's really nothing. So you got this 3-pronged connector here. It basically just pulls apart. All right. So you want to do a resistance check for the kill switch. So what you would do is you'd make sure that your kill switch is pulled up in the run position. You take your ohm meter and you look back at the diagram here. And from the push button throttle switch, you got a red and white and a red and black. So you go back over here and you see that red and white is on the outside, so it's going to be the female, and the red and black is the male. So what you're going to do is just quickly put the leads in. Like I said, doesn't matter which side you go on. And you'll see there's 0 connection there. That's because this switch is dead. Alright, but what we can do, you can actually buy cheaters, which is just a cap that goes over here from eBay, and I don't know, maybe somewhere else. And what it does, it just bridges the wire. The problem is the third wire on here, this yellow and black wire, needs to be connected because it's the high-speed switch that goes to the ECU. I'm not exactly sure what the high-speed switch does. It probably just prepares the motor for more fuel and stuff like that, I would imagine, but don't quote me on that. So anyways, you need that black and yellow one connected, so you can't just disconnect this. But what you can do, as you've seen here, I've taken the 2 wires, and I've just pulled back the insulation on them. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to bridge these with jumper cables right now. There. Oops. So I've jumpered this connection, and I need to actually check that again for the resistance. What you're going to eventually do is just bridge that with a soldered connection. If you never plan on replacing the throttle stop switch, which I'm going to, you can actually just cut those wires. You could actually cut on this side and just solder them together. That'll make a connection. And as you can see, you get a resistance of 1.2, which basically means there's electrical current or voltage passing through that switch and back into the other side. So now that we've repaired that on this side, what we can do is a full system ohms check. You plug back in all the connectors, and what you're going to do is you're going to check the wire from the EFI relay, which is the brown relay. It's got a lot more wires coming off of it, and the blue relay is the fuel pump relay. So from the EFI relay to that same red and yellow wire we did from the ECU. Alright, so as you can see on this skidoo, we have our switch bypassed on the handlebar. We've replugged in the 3-prong harness. If you look underneath, we have the key switch done. The key switch is off, so we shouldn't have a path of travel. What we're going to do is we're going to pop off the relay. All right. Now on the relay, the EFI relay, we have a red and white we're looking for. So you see the red and white here in the corner. That's where we're going to stick the one connector. So we're going to grab one of the prongs here. Red and white was this corner. Okay. So as you can see, the black connector is in the red and white relay spot. And this is from the original diagram we made. And then, if we remember, we had the red and yellow on here, which is this corner, which is right here. Okay, so you want to connect that right into there on the red and yellow. Okay, a little bit hard to see, but okay. So, what's going on here is that you should have no continuity. The reason for that is that the switch is off. So let's just turn the switch on. Okay. So the switch is now on, connected, and we have connectivity. We have a path from the ECU through all the kill switches. So right now you should get on the ECU, you'll see a little light on the side. When you turn the ignition on, there should be a single flash. All right. If you get more flashes, that means the ECU has recorded an error program, and you have to look into the book and record the flashes, long and short flashes. All right. So what you want to do now is you want to plug everything back in. Turn your key off. You're going to want to bridge. I'm going to bridge this with a soldered wire because I want to eventually replace this. And what we found with this one is that originally the seller said that the EFI relay was not working. Once we did the check with the kill switch circuit and we put it to battery power, we heard the clicking. So you can actually literally, as you're turning on the switch, you put your hand on that EFI relay, you hear the click, shut the switch off, turn the switch back on, put your hand on the blue fuel pump relay, and it clicks as well. So that means that both the relays are functioning properly. But of course, we had another problem. So what I did is I checked the voltage on the fuel pump connector, and I did have 12.4 or 12.5 volts on this connector. So what I did is and of course no fuel was pumping. I've got the fuel line off. There's no fuel pumping. So what should happen is as soon as you turn the key switch on, it should pump fuel for like 4 or 5 seconds to prime the pressure in the fuel rail to, I think, is like 35 or 36 psi. So basically I hooked up direct power to the fuel line and it just sparked a bit. So what happened is I removed the fuel pump, which sits in here. It's a little cylinder. It's replaceable. I ordered a generic one, so we're gonna see if that works. But yeah, the old one, it sat too long. The old fuel pump sat too long, and it just like seized in one spot, and just it sparks, and there's no going. So from here on, it's good because we've gotten the system to turn on. We know that the ECU is good, which was a little worrisome when you buy an old sled like this. But yeah, so we'll continue on. I got a whole bunch of parts on order, and I hope you tune in for our next one. And if you have a skidoo like this, hopefully this is helping you. Hey, take care, man. From the Great White North. See you later.